The news this week is that tarballs are washing up on Alabama beaches in the wake of Tropical Storm Lee. This is a messy fact for those who have bought into the national and corporate narrative and who have consigned the story of the spill to the past tense. For some of us, the story is not in the past. During the spill, I was down in the Gulf, and I came back home eager to tell people about what I'd seen. But I soon learned that I wasn't the only one who had left the Gulf behind. By late summer, the disaster had exceeded the national attention span. In August, a government report was released that claimed that much of the oil was mysteriously gone and had in fact evaporated. Well, this report was almost immediately contradicted by independent scientists. For most of us, it was time to move on. I wasn't ready. In late October, I returned to the Gulf to find my own news. On my second night back, I traveled to Orange Beach, Alabama. A storm struck during the night, kicking up the surf. The next morning, Orange Beach really was orange. The news said that there was no more oil on the beach, but despite this, I found myself walking through oil. The storm had left a brown-orange bath ring down by the shore and a line of caramel farther up. It was almost beautiful in a disgusting way, as if Jackson Pollock, armed only with a candy apple machine and some cigarette butts, had had a time of it, making a great line of squiggling art. The line continued for miles, weaving and coiling like a python down the beach. Some discarded coffee cups were also part of the mix, like a great tribute to the human love of crap. And yet people there on vacation would have none of it. They stuck to their illusions and walked the beach barefoot, their feet coated in the stuff, and lay down on beach chairs despite the hordes of workers and the giant sand-digging machines called sand sharks that hurried out to clean up the new mess. You could believe the news if you like, but all the news I needed was written in a jagged orange line on this beach. At that point, it was nearly 6 months after the spill, and anyone who told you the oil was gone was simply lying. Now, a year and a half after the well blew, the tarballs are still coming. It's hard to remember that stories don't end just because the cameras go. But while it's hard, it's also important. To tell the truth in a land of false stories is an act of rebellion and an act of imagination. It is also an act of contradiction in a nation with a short attention span, a nation with amnesia. In this land, we forget our stories quickly. We even forget how stories should be told. Already we are talking about drilling again and running pipelines across our land, greedy for the last drops. We forget that it was just a short year ago that we were vividly shown the consequences of sacrificing our places and people to the god of oil. I believe that this story, the story of the spill, is one worth remembering. I believe this because the Gulf is a living, vital place full of vital humans and animals, but also because this is the story of our future. It's a story that will insist on telling itself again and again over the next decades. If we continue to act this way, specifically if we continue to take greater and greater risks in a desperate search for the last drops of fuel, we will continue to experience tragedies that we will wrongly call accidents. They are not accidents. They are the logical consequences of foolish behavior.